Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. It is Thursday, September 17th, 2020. Our quote of the day: remember, teamwork begins by building trust. And the only way to do that is to overcome our need for invulnerability. And that is from Patrick Lencioni. I like that. Ooh, vulnerability. We still got to get Brene Brown. She's my goal on the show. Jeff, you got to make that happen, Jeff.
It's very serendipitous. I reached out to her last week. We have Shauna Nyquist on in a couple weeks, who's like Brene's super buddy. So I feel like if we get Glennon, Shauna, we have Anne Lamott booked for the spring. This is like the click that's going to pull Brene in.
Why does Jeff sound so muffled? He sounds like he's like in a muffled...
Jeff,
like,
are you muffled?
Is that better? Check.
A little, but you sound like...
Hi, Maria, this is what I sound like right now.
Here, let me get a little closer.
Jeff coming in.
Jeff to base.
Yeah, right.
Check.
There
Jeff to
we
California.
go. There we go.
Better? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, we're talking before the show, and then all of a sudden the show starts, and your mic doesn't sound good. Sorry for that, guys. Thank you again for joining us. As always, today we're really excited to be featuring community activist and pastor Bishop Omar to talk about how we can learn to see past divides in our own families, our friendships, our communities. He has been somebody who's been on my radar for a while because a friend keeps telling me, you need Bishop Omar. He's amazing. And he's so cool because he has been somebody who has negotiated peace between gangs. I mean, he negotiated peace between the Crips and the Bloods. I mean, listen, if you can do that, he could be the solution to all of our problems in this country. Because if you can negotiate peace between the Crips and the Bloods,
you can do anything.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
The Crips and the Bloods.
And he also, the other crazy one is a gang of neo-Nazis he had to negotiate. He's like America's dad/mediator. He's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so every time I'm always like, who's gonna fix everything? It might be Bishop Omar. So this is gonna be a really great conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy it. In the meantime, thank you for joining us here. If you haven't clicked subscribe on YouTube, if you're watching there, please click subscribe. You'll get notifications. You won't miss an episode. And then we also launched our new Instagram at Better Together with Maria. Please join us. And it's cool because we have like a hub now for everything. At the same time, we are building out Menounos.com with all of our Better Together stuff. So Kelsey's on that project. And also Patreon. If you haven't joined us at Patreon, please do. We're going to be migrating over there fully. So you don't want to miss out. Join us at any level. Obviously, I know it's tough these days. So whatever you can do. But I will say we are trying to add as much value as we can in those memberships, especially with our new workshops. So we're adding these incredible healing workshops. We just did one with Sa de Simone last week. That was just incredible. Like I said, Kevin had to watch it twice because he loved it so much and he got so much takeaway. And Kevin's my biggest critic and my toughest judge. So we're going to be doing a lot more with our guests. And what's great is you get the chance to interact with these incredible guests. So not only are we bringing them to you on the main show, but on the Patreon, you have a chance to actually interact with them. So I hope
and I'll
you
say
guys...
quickly, the chance to interact with you, Maria. It's really fun for our patrons to get to meet you. And you had just as much fun meeting them last week as they did meeting you. So it's really that $10 tier is where the true Patreon experience starts. We see you. We love our $5 listeners. But as we move toward these workshops, I think that $10 tier is where the ticket's at.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. But I had so much fun meeting everybody. And we're going to be doing an episode coming up on my new clean beauty quest. And it's interesting because Kelsey's had such an impact on me being here with her. It's funny, like you can immerse yourself with the right person or the wrong person. Luckily I have the right person next to me. So I've learned all of her clean, organic, green things.
Yes.
And so one of the things I realized that I wanted to share with you guys today was tanning products. So as you know, I have a brain tumor. And so I used to use this product called Quick Tan. And I hope I don't get in trouble for this. But anyway, quick tan was my obsession. It was amazing. And what's crazy is I realized the other day, maybe it was a week ago, I went for a hike in the neighborhood and it was like 88% humidity. And I had spray tan before. I didn't know what it was like outside. I was sick the rest of the day. My head was in so much pain. And I started to realize, because I kept getting messages like, this stuff isn't good for you. This stuff isn't good for you. But I wasn't listening. And then I realized, oh my, I think it's the spray tan stuff I use. Then I talked to Kevin. He goes, well, don't you remember when you spray tanned your dad? So when my dad went bald, you guys, I was like, Dad, we need to tan you. So I spray tanned him, and he literally was so ill. We almost had to take him to the hospital. He was throwing up. He had horrible migraines. Like, he was suffering. And so Kevin then says, I have to be really careful with tanning products. So I started looking this up. And it says that there was an article, and Kels, when we do these, you got to pull where we got the article from so that people know where we're getting our information.
Copy that.
I Googled it, and it says that looking tan can be a real headache for migraine sufferers. So I feel like I have an extra sensitivity because of this tumor. But when you think about it, my dad doesn't have one, and Kevin doesn't have one. So I will let you be the judge. However, I realize that we put so many things in our bodies and out of our bodies, and we all run so hard. We don't know what these do to us. We don't know how they react in our bodies. So, of course, we all love spray tans because we try to use that as an alternative to tanning beds and, of course, the sun. But tanning lotion is generally not a problem for most people. That's what it says here. However, those suffering from migraines, it can be a totally different experience. Very often, in less than 24 hours of use, these products can produce extreme headaches for migraineurs. So these headaches generally start several hours after applying the lotion. And many people who suffer from migraines maybe don't make the connection between the two events. Hello, like me, but this is what I do, guys. Our research discovered that some of these products, not our research, whoever wrote this article that Kelsey's going to find.
Jeff, help.
You have the link. I sent you the link. Oh, Jeff?
It's To Live Migraine Defense, which is a product out of Oklahoma. So for you migraine sufferers, this is worth checking out. I'll put it in the resources. It's a drug company called To Live, and they have a migraine defense supplement.
And they wrote about this.
Okay, so I'll throw it in the resources.
So basically, they say the products contain a specific amino acid that we've identified as problematic for migraines called L-tyrosine. Will you look up quick tan and look up ingredients and see if it has L-tyrosine? So unfortunately, elevating tyrosine in the body results in migraines. So guys, regardless, I think it's important for you to take a second look at how that stuff feels. So what I would do is I would put it on, and then I would have as still of a couple of hours as you can and start to feel what's happening in your body. So I'm experimenting with different organic ones right now. Vita Liberata. There's one I just ordered. Oh gosh, I ordered it on
It is
Sephora. What was it called?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Amazon
Kula?
one.
I think it's Kula.
Kula.
Yep. And then the one that you liked,
Golden Star Beauty.
Golden Star Beauty. I used that.
Yeah.
I did a second application, so I applied last night, and then I waited, and then I applied again once my skin had dried because I'm finding it doesn't darken me up enough.
Yeah.
And I got a pretty good
It's
little
good.
color.
I'm a big fan.
Anyway, we're going to try all these out, and I'm going to get back to you guys. But I have been implementing a lot more organic and clean stuff. So we're going to do a whole episode to share with you what we are doing. In the meantime, I have to tell you guys about my new obsession with Thrive Market, where you can get some of these green products and organic products. So I'm passionate about health and wellness, and being here in Connecticut, I've told you before, has left me lacking some of my favorite healthy options, as we're very limited here in Connecticut, at least where I live. So Thrive Market has made healthy living easy. I can get my favorite organic pantry staples, clean beauty products, supplements, non-toxic home goods at my fingertips. Click, 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 one-stop shop. I don't have to brave Whole Foods, which is like an hour away, during a pandemic even, when Thrive Market can come right to my door. So why wouldn't you try it? Thrive Market features only the world's highest quality products. Right now, of course, I'm loving all of the things that I got in my box. I shared everything in my Instagram story so you could see when I actually got the box. And with a small membership fee, you can get bulk prices on premium upscale items, guys. So it's 25 to 50% off retail. So it saves you an average of $30 per order. Plus, Thrive Market is really good at giving back based on its mission. So sponsoring a free membership for someone in need is what happens when you join. Fans of the show know how important it is to take your health seriously. And now you can do it on a budget with Thrive Market. So go to thrivemarket.com/bettertogether to check it out. By going through our landing page, of course, you help the show, which we're super grateful for. And first timers will get a free gift with a value of up to $24. So eat healthy, practice self-care by going to thrivemarket.com/bettertogether. You guys are going to love it. Like I said, there is a membership fee, but it is worth it. So now you've got Amazon that delivers all the other things you need. Like I ordered my fruit picker. We don't have a fruit picker here, and our peach tree is going crazy, and I can like now go pick my fruit with the peach picker. And I ordered my light bulbs. I realized I'm like, why am I going to drive all the way to Home Depot? That's an hour back and forth, and then whatever time I'm spending in the store. So really online is where it's at. So I just click, bought everything on Amazon, click, buy everything I need on Thrive. And then what's left, guys?
Nothing.
I can go out into the garden and pick some like tomatoes.
The Thrive selection too is just the best. Jeff, have you explored it at all yet?
Yeah, it was like the greatest gift I could give Laura.
It's so
it was so
good.
much. It's funny, sometimes we'll get nice promo stuff for the show, and the thing I love about it is I can just pass it along to my wife. I will say, though, even for you male listeners, there's a ton of cool Thrive stuff, some cool supplement options. If you're someone who, maybe likes protein or is into fitness, even as a guy, they have, great healthy options. And some of those fitness supplements can be kind of weird and dangerous for your body, but with Thrive, you're getting something safe and high quality. So it's for everyone.
That's what I love about it is, they've done the work to help you find the best. Like we use a bone broth collagen protein powder. It's protein, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah. In our smoothies every morning. And so, have you noticed, guys?
Are we glowing?
Are we glowing?
I was just going to say, you look very like bone broth collagen this morning. It's great.
And super tan, right?
Yeah, both.
All the things.
All the great things. Well, I'm when I'm passionate about something, and so I really think it can make your life so much easier. And, Kelsey watches me every day. I'm always trying to teach her all the shortcuts and making life easier. I've been writing about this stuff in my books for the last decade. Make the hard stuff go fast and easy so you can get to the good shit. Like the stuff you really want to do. Like you want to work on yourself. You want to do your me journal. You want to do your, meditations. Like, why are we going to waste our time going into all these places when you can just click, and it's done, and then it's at your doorstep, and all you have to do is open the package.
And it's good.
Exactly.
And it's good.
All right, let's get to our interview. I'm so excited. Bishop Omar Jawar is the voice of Dallas's urban communities and a community leader committed to social change for eradicating senseless violence. He's the CEO and founder of Urban Specialists, an internationally renowned community leader and advocate and pastor of the KWAR Church. He's here today to help us unpack this historic moment. We're going to learn some negotiation tips from him because, like I said, if he has negotiated peace between the Crips and the Bloods, I think he can do anything. So, Bishop Omar, we have a big agenda for you today.
It is a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for allowing me on, and thank you for your work, what you're doing. I've studied and listened at you. So thank you. I appreciate this platform. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm so excited to speak with you today and to learn. And, I was introing you to everybody. And so you have an interesting career as a bishop, and you are practicing in a church. I don't know what the denomination officially is. Or is it
non-denomination? It's a Maria denomination.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought. I was just making sure. But then everyone is having you come in and negotiate peace in all of these different, whether it's a neo-Nazi gang or, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. Did you know where this was all going, or did it just all unfold
Well,
naturally?
honestly, it was passionate initially. I was passionate about stopping the idea of violence being the language of urban communities. That's really what was driving me. So many young people that I loved were dying unnecessarily. And I knew that they were more than the sum of that mistake. So it was passion driven initially. And then I started seeing the systemic damage that was being done to individuals who had great ideas but had little choices in their mind. And so the goal was to figure out how to create a social compact internally. We call it getting them to zero. That means taking a person who is environmentally struggling with this idea of I want to be this and I can't, all of those things. And so we push them to zero where they can actually look at their life and make a real choice. So that was such a powerful initiative because it was dealing with those who most had given up on completely. They were gang leaders, they were violent perpetrators. So you would say those are the problem. And I was saying that they could be our solution. And I wasn't saying it being very snarky. Yeah, I felt the same way. And every time I'm in the presence of those kinds of individuals, I feel that. I feel their power and their passion. And so I would tell them, your characteristic has a market advantage, but can I help shape your character so that you can be your best version of you? And that's what it is.
Oh my God. Wow. It's interesting because when you see people who have gone down maybe a criminal path, they're very they're very smart. Like
Yeah.
my husband always will say, if they just took that and put it into something else,
Hmm.
they would be successful. And so
Hmm.
it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying is you have a value. Everyone has a value. We know that. You have a
Right.
value. You're just not exploring other ways to express it.
That's exactly right, Maria. That is, your husband is spot on. That these guys are not, most are not incorrigible. We have this photograph again, and a -9, that's like a Charles Manson, a Jeffrey Dahmer, those who have went beyond the social compact of civility, and they are now psychopaths or they have some mental thing. That's very rare. But most folks are saying, I am a survivalist. And so, as a survivalist, I have the right to suspend the rules. And so, the rules of civility don't count when I'm trying to make it. If you were trying to feed your children, what would you do? If I was, so you limit your choice mechanisms to what helps me survive. And if I can unleash a different part of your tenacity and say, not only are you not a survivalist, you are a thriving human spirit that needs a pathway. And if I can show you the pathway, would you give me a chance? I never forget. I had a meeting with about 45 blood gang members at a pool hall, and I asked them. I said, I'm going to do a diagnosis, anecdotal diagnosis. I said, how many of you guys have baby mama trouble? And all of them raised their hand. I said, how many of y'all are broke right now? You don't have no money. They raised their hands. How many of y'all are involved with crime? So I just said all of these things. And I said, as an anecdotal diagnostician, I'm going to say what you're doing ain't working. So can you give me a shot? I may not make your world better, but I bet I can do better than where you are. And out of those about 45, about 42 of them said, man, I'm with you. Okay, let's just try this. Now, again, like I said, I could be absolutely wrong. But there are people, I told them, there are folks who study you like you Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or you, and they getting paid millions of dollars studying you or arresting you or teaching you. And the only person who doesn't value you is you because you don't understand your intrinsic value. If I show you this, what could you do other than being a representative of something that you think you have to hold on to? But it's called mutual vulnerability. We both have to be vulnerable because I was in their world and I was asking them to come to my world and let me be a tour guide of possibilities, as opposed to your savior or your God. I'm going to be a tour guide, and you may have to save me, but let's walk in this together. So it's very powerful, and those kinds of things I've seen over and over and over again. So it lets me know that transformation is real. That there's very little that we cannot do once we agree. So I'm driven by that.
Wow. So how do you get someone out of survivalist mentality?
Yeah, that's a very deep question, 'cause I hear that often, and I think you have to explain the value that they have beyond the moment that they're in. See, so I have to define the value beyond the moment. So I have this box that I do, and I put in that box you, and then around the box I say, what do you love? What do you hate? What do you fear? What do you need? That's the real you. And most of them are connected to family members, children, other things. That's what they love. And so we ask them, if you were going to fight for one thing, not just your personal survival, what would it be? And it's normally those things or those people that I love. Well, can you give them a shot to truly see your best side or experience something beyond your moment? And most of them are afraid that the moment is too big and that the choices are too small. So that's what they think. And so so what we call it, we have this methodology we call 3I, but we got to be very intrusive. And like I said, I'm a pastor, so my analogies are scriptural. Jesus was in a place and there was a girl they said she had died. Jesus said, no, she's sleeping. The people around the room laughed at Jesus. He said, get out of the room. He got very close to that girl and she began to breathe. So I tell them, you got to be very up. You can't do drive-by analysis. You got to be very up close to these individuals so I can show them the power of this one choice that they may be overlooking. So in their minds, man, the system don't like me. The police, they just looking. And so I got to get them very close. And I say, you see, there's a choice right here. A choice for you to be civil right here, like this moment. Can you make that choice? Yeah, okay, that's one choice. Okay, so you're going. So when you start looking intrusively, you can see those choices, and so you don't just get sucked in the pantheon of the environment. You have to be very intentional and intrusive. I know that's a long way around it, but that's how close you have to get to a person when you are helping them make those life choices. And then after a while, it becomes their own character, their own decision making. They start seeing it, and so then they're starting to compare notes, and that's how you move them through that pathway. That's what I mean, taking them from -4 to 0. And at 0, you can actually look around the board and say, what choices do I really want to make? What do I want to be? What's my career choices? What am I good at? What are my gifts? What are my talents? Who is my support group? You can start going to that trajectory, and it takes you somewhere else. And then before you know it, you'll see someone who started off as a gang leader, and then they're a business leader, or then they're a peace guy. It's just, that's how you have to do it, but it has to be intentional.
Yeah, but choices are so important. I end my show with be a nice person, make good choices.
Yes, and you are right.
Choices are so important, but what it sounds like you're building off of, like you help them get to choice number 1, they see it, and then you're building off of that. How do you find that you get resistance? Because it sounds like when you the way you're approaching it, but I'm just your tour guide, maybe their defenses go down, but when you have someone who is so stubborn and they see the world through their, very narrow glasses, their narrow view of the world is against me, it's me or them, how do you get them to listen to you? Because there's a defensiveness that comes, it's like, my life's fine. And you're like, well, like, really, it's not, it could be better. How do you get that through?
Well, see, we say that there are always impact impressions. That means something that happens that shocks you, that shakes you. A friend that you love dies, a person that you're counting on lets you down. You enter into a criminal justice system that's not necessarily just. You find life lands a crushing blow on you. And so now you're trying to find your responses. So because we get that resistance a lot, man, I'm good, and that's very, that's very surface. When we each, the ability, you have to figure out how to go a level deeper, and you'll get into some real traction. And that takes some time, takes some trust. But here's what it takes, Maria, more than anything. The goal is bigger than the role. So I'm not driven by my ego for them to agree with me. My goal is for them to agree that they deserve to be truly citizens and at their highest level of capability, not the lowest common denominator. So I got to push past that initial brush off. And there is a question that we're all trying to answer that's real, and that's why am I here? See, so when you're asking those big questions all the time, you don't get you tend not to get bogged down into the little things that keep you confused, surface level confused. So I keep the conversations in that vein. And that's difficult because it's intentional, because I can easily go to, I'm tired of them. I can easily get into the minutia of their day to day. And in their mind, that's what I'm really dealing with. I'm saying, no, man, it's connected to something bigger. And so at some point they're going to say to me, well, tell me what's bigger than you, brother. I mean, you keep on talking, okay, tell. And that's what I want them. I want them either frustrated, as long as they are alive. They don't have to be in agreement. I just want you to be alive enough to where you argue with me, where you're battling back. It don't matter. As long as you live and you breathe and you got a chance, because I know there's going to be a breakthrough moment. And that's normally how it happens.
Wow. Is there a difference for you between coaching leaders and followers? Like, often you can spot, okay, these are just followers. I think the followers are maybe easier to reach, but the leaders, do you see a difference in that?
Yes, 98% of a group follows, 2% leads. I operate with the leaders. So yeah, that's exactly right. My role, I mean, my role has been to deal with what we call OGs, or guys, and they're not gender specific, individuals who control environments or people or territory, prisons, because they have a different value add. And normally in leadership, even if you're a negative leader, you understand sacrificial ideas to support the group that you represent. And then you have some leaders who are treacherous and evil, and you gotta be able to call out those things in a way that they understand that you're calling out the behavior and not calling out the person. But bottom line is, yeah, with leadership, you ask them, like when I was in the prisons working, I would say, is the goal for them to go home or to stay with you? What's your role? Because you're the leader. Tell me what we're doing. And of course, inevitably, most would say, I want them to go home. And so I said, well, the pathway that you're leading them on will keep them stuck. And after a while, they begin to understand that leadership is a dynamic idea that's self-sacrificial, that's about, not imputing your ideas and making them submit, but it's making them grow. And growth sometimes is scary, because leaders will see someone growing and they may grow past them. So they say, well, help me to grow better. Because we had this code of conduct, all these things that we would go into to help them prepare for leadership. And then I would have this leadership council of guys who ran the gangs in the prisons. And I would meet with them once a week to talk about what are we doing to advance civility, not how your gang doing. It's how your individual's doing. And so we would take off some of those monikers and allow them to be true citizens. And I'm saying to them that your leadership is transferable also. It's not just, just for this little moment or this prison. You can be a leader in any facet. Do you want me to keep going? They would say, yeah, okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. Let me show you how you can be a leader in industry. You want me to keep going? Yeah, okay, let me show you how you can be a leader spiritually. Family, how far you want to go, because it's exponential and it's infinite. Just keep going. And where you stop is when you have no more breath. So it gets them on a trajectory of where they're saying, right? And the only thing they have to figure out is how I can stay in that zone, even in an environment that kind of pushes me away from that ideology, which is like prisons or whatever. And so that's the goal. So you got to create the resiliency inside so they can keep bouncing back, keep believing. That's what we do.
Wow. You mentioned something earlier, and I'm going to paraphrase it now, about environmental, like what you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to act like. So what hit me in that moment was that's a universal problem, right? Whether you're in a gang or you're me or Kelsey or Jeff, society is very heavy-handed in its approach with that. It really tries to push us to be something other than ourselves. Mm-hmm. So, it's an interesting commonality, because People always say, my dad always used to say, Maria, you are who your friends are. And you hear that a lot. But it's interesting when you break it down a little deeper. It's that common thread, whether you're in that kind of environment where people are telling you if someone hurts you, you have to hurt them back. It's kind of a similar thing, and I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, Maria, that the force that continues to make us replicas and tries to take our originality, our uniqueness away is what makes everyone, feel safe. I'm safer with you being exactly what I think you are, and no surprises. That's just okay. Okay, you are a whatever. And then there are others who have been so close to you that they have a picture in their mind of who you are, and they say you can't change that picture. You better not change that picture. We are comfortable with you being that, so stay that. And that's what causes a person to kind of battle. So yeah, that's a common internal struggle. And I'm gonna show you something. The way you move beyond that and accept your originality is to embrace the vulnerable possibilities that exist beyond your scope. And you have to walk in that place with a certain amount of confidence that if I fall, I got the ability to get up. If I'm wrong, I got the ability to change my mind. I'm not stuck in this one era or this one idea. But you don't find too many people who are on that kind of road and that they are comfortable being that open. But these individuals that I deal with, because they have found some of the hardest failures in their life to be springboards, they are more open to the idea of change. They just don't know if the roads and the roles that they've been playing are conducive to the change that they're feeling. And so my role is to keep conditioning that change agent to believe in change beyond the now, beyond this moment. And it's interesting because it changes you too. I mean, because when you are up close, we are both examining. So they're examining me, it's very different.
Where did you learn to negotiate?
I'm the youngest of my older brothers, and I couldn't beat them up. I couldn't beat them up, so I had to negotiate for the toys and for the food and for the.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, got too many times when I'm saying if I could just get that, but instinctively, and then my father, my mother, I grew up in the neighborhood at like most urban youth, and a lot of my family members was in the worlds that I'm trying to correct, so I understood it. But I think what I saw in church and in family gatherings, that a person is so complicated that we cannot see them in the simplistic terms that most of us say. He's a drunk. I said, no, but he's fun. He's fun when he's drunk. Well, okay, well, he's a drunk and he's fun. So you could see so many layers, and I was so inquisitive. So my mind was always running towards, they are not the mistakes or even the brilliance. They are complicated because I saw my own frailties. And so I was put into an environment in the prisons. I volunteered to go into the prisons because I saw that the gang phenomenon had reached a fiery pitch in the 90s. And I saw that most of the leadership was inside of the prisons. And I just could not fundamentally believe that is how we were supposed to have our legacy, especially in the African-American and Latino communities, that our legacy should not be, we are violent and we are underutilizing our ability to lead. That was not true to me. But so you got to go where the issues are. And so I was not big, I was not forceful, and I was not intimidating. So I had to use the power of persuasion. There was a guy who had 1,000 years in prison. He was like an uncle to me. His name was Harold Hill. He told me the strong may rule the weak, but the wise rule them all. So work on your wisdom, not your strength, so that you can help lead those who feel unempowered. And so it's words like that that kept me. And there was some guys who trained me when I was very young, 15, 16. They would take me house to house, and I would knock on doors talking to parents about their children being vulnerable to gangs. And I'm the children's age, but the children are looking like, wait a minute, man, how could you be talking about this? So I was exposed very close. So it gave me an instinct. And then my father was who is still alive, was a very important part of my development. My father and my mother, who taught me empathy and taught me what the rule was, and that is find a way to love a person beyond their violation. So that's what happened.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes. Find a way to love a person beyond their violation.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So, I mean, do you feel like people today lack empathy?
Yeah. You know, Maria, I think they are so, remember I was talking about the survivalist mode. They are so trying to make it. And then you have these tones and these words that come out vitriolic and passionately against, that you say, well, you know, the inverse. See, watch this. I tell guys this. I say, in order to survive in the jungle, you must become more human. But people make you believe you must become more animal. And it's not right, because you cannot out animal an animal. You got to out human an animal. I don't live in a jungle asking myself, I'm gonna beat the lion at his own game. No, I'm gonna have to train the lion. I'm gonna have to train myself to go beyond. I have to go higher, not lower in my instincts. And that's what I think people lose when they're trying to figure out, how do we make it. So the way I make it is to determine my sphere of influence and my range, and I close in right there. And that keeps you safe, kinda, but it captures you. You are capped in your ability to experience and connect. So you got to open up, and that's scary to open up. But if you stay closed, you won't be safe. You would just be an easier station target for those who are predators in their sight. So you have to stay. You know, young people say, like, you got to stay woke. You got to stay woke. You have to stay conscious. You have to stay believing, and you have to go forward even when the winds are asking you to turn around, let it go. You cannot do that, and that's why you have to find people. Like, one of the things I tell these guys is only inspired people can inspire people. So you have to find inspirational ideas and individuals and tap in and say, let me borrow some from you, and you guys exchange, and that's how you get into this empathetic voice, and you understand it much clearer.
So, do you ever find it challenging as someone who has a lot of empathy? Like, I get confused because we live in a time where everyone has such a strong view, rah! Right? And I'm just watching everyone, and they're just going like this, and they're just smashing up against everybody, and I have empathy for everybody, because I feel like I can understand where they're coming from. At least it's not my place necessarily to judge who's right, who's wrong, even though we know right from wrong. But like, I can get confused with my empathy. Do you ever get like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, think about it. You know, when we started, you talked to me about the Neo-Nazi group. I mean, imagine I'm sitting in a meeting to negotiate and help them figure out how to get out of prison and blah, 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 and survive in prison. And they start with their rhetoric. Like, their rhetoric is pretty tough too. We hate blacks, and we hate Jews, and we hate gays, and they going in. And I'm sitting there, like, waiting on my time, And they look at me and they say, now, we're not talking about you, sir. We're talking about, the other folks. I said, I understand. I said, go ahead, because I have to believe that their rhetoric is surface. See, so I'm saying this rhetoric is a spew out from what's been poured in, or what's been a violation in their mind, or what is a limited vocabulary intellectually, not just in words, but in their soul, in their spirit, in their minds. I think that you have some frayed edges, and I got to help you tie them back up. And if afterwards you still are there, then I say that's who you have socialized to be. But that's very rare. I remember a guy who said to me, I know it's not, I'm not gonna say his name, but this guy, when he came into our group, he said, "I hate blacks with a passion. If they died today, it would pleasure me. My family hates." And he was just going, and so the group that he was in, the guys were getting enraged, and I said, "Calm down," because I don't know your story, but the short of the story, long and short of it, when he left a few years afterwards, he wrote one of the most beautiful poems that I've ever seen. And it was published in the magazine about how he grew to understand that love is not based on past, it's based on where you are right now. And what I see, he said, what I see in the eyes of Mr. Omar is love. And I appreciate the love you shown to me when I didn't deserve it. He broke me down. It was unbelievable. Same guy. So I see these times, and I hear them, like you said, and they're rhetoric driven and they're vitriol and we can back up and get nervous about it. But what you got to do is someone has to be in the middle. I think that's you too. Someone has to be in the middle of that saying, let me direct the traffic and not let me be mad at the driver who may be driving irrationally. Let me direct them into a lane where they won't harm others. And then let's see if we can work on creating these very strategic ties. That's why we do what we do, because it's and that's difficult, man, because some people say you're not holding them accountable, or you're too empathetic, or you are. I said no. I overstand. I'm not confused, and my principles don't shift. But what I do is I value the human idea beyond my idea. So I can value a person being differentiated in their ideas. See, one guy told me that uniformity is not the same as being unified. I don't believe that we all have to be in a uniformed, this is how we look at it. We can have great conversations that have different perspectives, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I find myself in roles a lot because, being a journalist for so many years, politics is never something that I discuss because I'm always interviewing everybody and I want to be fair, and I respect that role a lot. But what I find myself in positions where I'm just giving the other side. Whatever side is being presented, I'm always like, well, let's put ourselves in their shoes for a second. I think they form these opinions and these ideas because of these experiences. And then they'll look at me and their head will cock to the side. I call it the poodle head cock because my poodle would always go like this when I'd make a weird noise. So I make my weird noise. I shock their system a little and they kind of go, never thought about it like that. So I find, that you get more results by not trying to overexert your opinions on somebody, by presenting a different thought or a scenario that they hadn't considered. And I feel like that's a lot of what you're also doing is hearing them, because what's happening right now in our world is no one's hearing each other. Everyone's just yelling at each other in every arena of whatever is going on, right? And it's scary for someone like me, where I feel like I love solving problems. And it just seems so overwhelming. So when I thought of you today, I was like, gosh, I think Bishop Omar is the solution to all of our problems. How do we get you out there even more? Sorry, we're going to make you work harder. But, we obviously have a massive problem in our country right now. And it's really overwhelming because I feel like it's the deeper work that needs to be done. It's not just, okay, we're going to change a law, we're going to fix this. It's a deeper thing that has to be fixed in people. And we need someone to take us on that tour.
Yeah, Maria, thank you for saying that. But you're spot on. I mean, I'm going to remember the poodle head cock. I'm gonna remember that too. That's gonna be that has become in my lexicon. I know what you're talking about, man. I know that look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I understand. we've been doing this deal called Heal America and other stuff, course correction. And I never forget, I told my team, I said, hey, we're gonna get the widows of police officers. We're gonna get the parents and siblings of guys who have been killed by police. We're gonna get those from the political left, political right. We're gonna get business leaders, cultural icons, and we're gonna put them in this conversation called course correction, where we all are talking about how pain and ideas make us feel. It was powerful. The highlight of that, and we did it on MLK Day. It was powerful.
Wow.
Trayvon Martin's mother. Deion Sanders. Ted Cruz, Scarface, John Carlos, the widows from Baton Rouge, the widow Alton Sterling, the widows of. It was unbelievable. But the highlight was when those widows of the fallen police officers who were killed as a result of the vitriolic tone of America about hurting police. When those women who were on stage talked about their pain, and Alton Sterling's widow talked about her pain, and without practice, they each talked about what they did, and it was so similar. They each go to the headstone and they talk to their husband. They each try to keep flowers living so they can be reminded to keep living. It was just those moments, and they began to hug each other on stage, and it was stunning, because everyone on that stage realized at that moment that when we are going through, we all look the same. That this pain is absolutely mutual. That we are all in this. There is no them. It's just an us, and we have to make this us so strong that we forget what the veneer of our outer shell is, or I'm a police, I'm a black man, I'm Hispanic, I'm a left guy, I'm right. Those things which become so easy to separate us, they pale in comparison when you're really dealing with the essence of humanity and who we are. And so, that is what I want to do for my life, is to say, how do we have a more perfect union, a real ideological shift from finding out what's wrong to figuring out what do we agree on and agree ruthlessly on it, and become passionately connected to surviving and then thriving as a true blended family, which is difficult because we have our own cultural ideas, and we don't. So you cannot sweep across violations. You just can't stay in violation. Violation has to be met with solution, not just rhetoric and anger. And so then solutions have to have a platform by which they are launched and all of those things. And so, it is not, it's not complicated. It's just not easy because you got to stand in the middle of it. And I love what you said too. I agree with that. I so agree with that when you, without emotion, give a person who is in violation the other side, and you're trying to help them to grow, and it's true vulnerability because you're just offering it up, it becomes less intimidating when you're trying to proselytize, from my point of view. So it's not, that's not, that's where we land. Now, we hold people accountable, we do all of that, but that's not, so those things don't have to be juxtaposed. They can be right in the same congruent line if we do it the right way.
Yeah. I feel like what you just said about all of the widows coming together, it's like, at the end of the day, it's just valuing life either way. And so we shouldn't have to get to that place where we've lost to connect.
Yeah.
We're all connected. I mean, we talk about energy on this show almost every day. We are all interconnected, but as we shut off certain parts, we realize, if you're paying attention, like, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. This is going to, and I don't know if you know this. So if it's too painful, I will not go any further with it. But I'm telling you something. I'm gonna tell you, it was interesting when when we were connected to come on here, and I said, I know her, and I was trying, and I know your work, but I was saying, no, no. I'm gonna tell you, talking about connection and energy. I remember, like, Deion Sanders is he's my best friend, my close friend. Tracy Edmonds is his
Oh yeah.
fiance. And I remember Tracy calling me saying to me years ago, she was facing a health challenge and she was shaking up. And I said, we're going to pray. You don't even know this. This was years ago. We were praying. And I was telling her, and she was talking about energy, and Tracy was just talking about energy. And, I'm just, it was trying to make sure we get through this. And she said, she's such a good person and it's bothering me. This was years ago, man. I never knew we would be talking, but just so you know, and that was man, that was some years ago, because it was at a point where her mother was going through a health challenge and this, and then a couple of years later, I went through a health crisis, and folks that I know, see, so you never know in life how these things shift. And you become a part of this circle of folks who have had to walk through that tunnel of, I don't know where this is going. Because I never forget when the doctor said to me, they said you have colon cancer, right? And this really has been coming. This has resurfaced in my mind after Chadwick death. I'm gonna tell you, I'll never forget. The doctor said to my family, because we asked, is this treatable? We're going to make it. Is this going to be okay? The doctor looked at me and my son and my wife and my parents and said, if you guys know God, you should be praying right now, because we don't know. We have no knowledge. Now, I went through the portal, told the things went well, no issues, blah, blah, blah. You come back. See, that creates, now my life work has been this empathetic, blah, blah, blah. Well, that opened up a whole nother portal of empathy that says, I know how it feels when you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got to walk in that thing and you got to come back, and it makes you most sensitive to people who are vitriolic. And you're saying, bruh, it is really not that important. Those things that we count when it comes down to it, you have no knowledge. It's just, you never know where you are in this pantheon. You get in that moment. And it's just, and it's an amazing journey, but it makes you value it much different. When I did this work, my daughter, when I did this work about 10, 11 years ago, my daughter was missing for 30 days. My daughter, who I love, not an estranged daughter, not kinda, this is my baby. This is the one. She's missing for 30 days because she ran away. She felt like, Dad, I'm a disappointment. All the things that teenagers go through. And so every day I was up helping other kids and helping gang leaders and I had to go home and recognize the pain. So I tell people I had to walk through as a client, not just as a practitioner. Now, things worked out, ... But again, when you go through certain portals, it really lessens the arrogance and the lack of empathy, because you start realizing you never know how this thing is going to play out. And so the goal is to be super woke, super conscious, and specific about what you're trying to do, so that when those challenges come, you have some sense of belief that if I woke up today, then today is a day I can actually achieve something more than my past has given me credit for. So I know I went on a ramble on that, but I just want to let you know, when you said connection, I really believe in that, like true connection, because you don't know, you never know. And it's so amazing how it all kind of just ties itself together. And then you end up on a journey that's amazing.
So true. Well, I love Tracy. I love Dion, of course, and Kristen Prouty, who connected us. And Bishop Omar, I wish I could talk to you for another 20 hours. We are going to have to do another session with you. I'm so grateful for the work you're doing. If I can ever be helpful, call on me. I'll be there. I'm so emotional.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Overwhelming. wow, I don't know where that just came from, but I want to be helpful, so if you need me, call me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That's never happened.
All right.
Whew. All right. Well, I have to, unfortunately, go because I have to go talk about movies right now on a live Zoom. What an interesting juxtaposition.
Listen,
From stuff that matters to stuff that doesn't.
No, I get it, man. You just know that your light shines through. I really mean that.
Thank you.
I mean it, man. You are. I can feel it. I feel it. I mean, I feel like doing what you're doing. I'm just, I got to work with gang members, so if they ever see this podcast, they don't say, man, you was crying there, so I gotta keep my composure. But when I hit end, I promise you, I feel the same way because I feel a connection. I understand. I love what you're doing. Thank you. And just you saying, can you help? You are helping. Just shining this light. I love Kristen too, and Tracy and all of them. Yeah. All of us are family. We just in this spot. And so thank you. Thank you. I really mean it. And this is the beginning. This is not the last show. This is just the first conversation.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I love people, so it makes me so sad to see things be like this. And and that's why the show's called Better Together, because I do believe we're better together. So anyhow, thank you, and we will speak soon.
We shall.
Have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you. I mean that.
Ooh. Wow.
I'm glad you started crying before I did.
That just knocked me so hard.
Oof. Well, it's kind of wild. I messaged Jeff right when he first started, and I was just like, oh, I feel like he's supposed to be on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. It was just,
whew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that's our show. I'm just going to end it right there. Bishop Omar is everything. If you want to find out more about him, you can go to his website, www.standtogether.org. Thank you as always for joining us. You can follow him at Bishop O. Jawar. We'll put that in the summary. At Jeffrey Crane Graham. At Kelsmeyer 2. At Better Together with Maria. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.